Greetings, friends. Will here with Club Cocal at Club Cocal with an amazing cast of friends, associates, cowboys, and autists coming at you live and direct. My boy Jethro here, El Toro. He is, well, he really needs no introduction, but he is involved in a lot of things right now in Bitcoin country, including the Bitcoin Country podcast, including Economia, the next Bitcoin conference that's coming up here in a couple weeks. He's working directly with Max and Stacy, putting out some amazing content, basically sharing with the world what the heck is happening here, and it's something absolutely incredible. And we're here to share a little bit about that with you today. Toro, take it away, bro.
Well, thank you very much, Will. Thank you, everyone, for listening, and thank you for hosting this here at Club Cocal. It is an amazing location, halfway between El Zonte, Bitcoin Beach, and San Salvador, the capital. I'm on my way here. I just came from Bitcoin Beach. We had a Max and Stacy meetup yesterday, and we're all going up to Bitcoin Historico coming very soon. And it's a great panel. I'll be going around and introducing everybody. And yeah, a lot is going on here this month. We got Bitcoin month. I'll get into all that as well. And very excited to have this conversation. So we are joined today by Texas Slim. So a little quick backstory. My first ever Bitcoin transaction in 2022 was the Beef Initiative, founded by Texas Slim. He's been the pioneering OG Bitcoin cowboy for years. Bitcoin only, no shitcoins, and quality beef. The highest quality in the US, regenerative, grass-fed, all of that good stuff. He's built up a network of over 100 ranchers throughout the country, and they teaching them how Bitcoin works and why it is important to ranchers. We're gonna get into all that as well. So Slim, would you like to say a quick hi?
Howdy, everybody. I'm Texas Slim, founder of the Beef Initiative, and I'm here to give grace and honor to all of these men, of course. And we've got proof of work that you just touched on. And you know, what's fun about the Beef Initiative right now, from the very beginning, I said, hey, this is the Great American Health Initiative being led by the Great American Rancher. But the thing about it is it's going to be on a Bitcoin standard. And so, you know, I have a certain skill set that allowed me to meet all these gentlemen, and it's basically based on decentralization. And, you know, looking at the world in a different way and looking at food security, you know, and in the Bitcoin standard, in the ethos, what do we say? Don't trust until you have verified. So I'm here in El Salvador to talk about food security, but also, you know, people in El Salvador, they can verify what they're eating far better than we can in the United States. And so what we're going to do is uncover and invert a system of what we built in Texas is the best cattle industry in the world. So we're going to do that right now in El Salvador.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk about 1878 Texas. And so a lot of history coming. So these events, I get to talk about the last basically 6 years. I've worn out 2 pickup trucks. I've been around the world 3 times, and I've been building some nodes. So let's have a good conversation, guys.
Love it.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yep, and I'm looking forward to getting into all of that. I'm glad you brought up history. This is a historic moment. Bitcoin Historico is the cornerstone event of Bitcoin month, and we got a lot more. These guys are going to be involved in several events, so we're going to get into all of that. But first and foremost, beef is a very important part of nutrition. Bitcoiners, a lot of us care about that. And welcome Texas Slim to El Salvador. Welcome back. And speaking of beef in El Salvador, over here we've got my friend James, who has been on the forefront of regenerative ranching here in El Salvador, the highest quality beef in the country, really spinning that up now that it is safe to build here in this Renaissance 2.0 environment. So James, founder of the Bitcoin Farmers Market, very vital to the medium of exchange adoption here in the country. It's a huge boost to circular economies. Also runs Beef Back Better. So James, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. Good day, everybody. And first of all, thank you for the very kind words and for having me on. I'm very happy to be here with you esteemed gentlemen. I basically have a very, very simple thesis, which is that decentralized money needs decentralized food. And I sadly see my home country going down the tubes. I have a lot of hope, in El Salvador, and I want to help bolster the system of El Salvador and help make it more resilient, because I have a lot more belief in this place than where I'm from, sadly, but that's just the case. So yeah, I have a regen, grass-fed, grass-finished beef company, and we have the Bitcoin farmers market. The idea is to essentially remove the middlemen as much as we can and connect producers directly with consumers. That's what I believe in. That's what I work on.
Yep. And you're doing a great job. That effort has not gone unnoticed. Proof of work. It's a huge contribution to the Bitcoin ecosystem here and to keeping Bitcoiners healthy with quality food. And the Bitcoin farmers market, of course, huge boost to circular economies. You can get the beef there and so many other things. So many great vendors show up. We first met. Yeah, my pleasure. And I was there at the very beginning of it. August 2023 is when I first moved to El Salvador, rented a room from this guy for my 2 first months in El Salvador.
Those were the days.
Those were the days, and I'm glad we're bringing it back here. It's so much fun to be back.
It's good to have you back in town, man.
I love to be back here in paradise, here in Bitcoin country, on the cutting edge of so many of the positive things that are happening here in the world. You mentioned that there is a lot of darkness in other places. El Salvador has become an oasis for freedom, for prosperity, for optimism, for building. So very excited to get into all of that. And speaking of the Bitcoin farmers market and medium of exchange adoption, I first met Jake from AirBTC at the Bitcoin farmers market a couple years ago here in El Salvador. And then we met again about a month and a half ago at BTC in DC. So Jake has been traveling to a lot of conferences around the world. AirBTC has contributed a vital element. When Bitcoiners are traveling to all these different conferences, they need a place to stay. So the same way, if we can infuse the food system with Bitcoin adoption, makes sense to also infuse, when you're traveling, you need a place to stay. So it's just a natural fit. And I'm very excited to have Jake here.
Well, thank you for having me, Jethro. I've had the beef, I've been to the market, I've hung out with Will, Texas Slim. Nice to meet you, bro. This is going to be a great conversation. But, we feel like El Salvador is definitely a place to build and grow. And it's not from the outside in with no repercussions about what happens within El Salvador. We really think the way to build it out for us is to find someone from outside of this place and bring them here and show them how beautiful this place is, truly. Because it happened to me. Nobody brought me here. I kind of found my way, as so many of us do. But the idea is to market a place to come, and then you go get to have James's beef, and you go buy a piece of real estate from Will, hang out with Jethro, and he'll teach you so many things about this country. He's been all over. I'm just, when we bring these people in from outside of this place, you get a guy from Ohio, Iowa, wherever, anywhere in the world, and he comes here and he distributes sats to James, or the Mama Rosa's pupusas, my favorite, in Zonte. And, there's so much technology that's still here from the POS systems that they've built. I mean, you can literally spend Bitcoin all day, all night. We really think that this is an amazing place for the medium of exchange to actually take a stronghold, right? Because store of value has been such we've been cloaked by this store of value. And Michael Saylor gets on the internet and he tells everyone, best savings technology. I do not disagree with you whatsoever, but at the end of the day, Laszlo had to spend that 10,000 Bitcoin to get the pizzas, and that's when it clicks. And it clicks more and more when you go distribute sats to your hotel or your short-term rental. I'm sorry to rant, but I'm just super excited to be here.
Yeah, well, we appreciate the rant. That's what we're here for. Bitcoiners love a good podcast, good rant. So thank you for that. And thank you for your work with AirBTC. I recently tried it out for myself. I actually was able to book a stay when I first arrived about a month ago. Very smooth experience, incredible customer support, built by Bitcoiners for Bitcoiners. So, and it's been a huge boost to the medium of exchange adoption. And I'm glad that you actually mentioned Michael Saylor. So we just saw him at the BTC DC conference recently. And I actually got a picture with Michael Saylor wearing this same shirt representing the Bitcoin farmers market. And full credit to Michael Saylor full credit to Michael Saylor for pioneering, really championing store of value adoption and institutional adoption. That is an important facet of the Bitcoin ecosystem, but that alone is not enough. To your point about Laszlo and Bitcoin Pizza Day, really the store of value actually started with medium of exchange. These two are not separate competing concepts. They go hand in hand. And nowhere in the world is that more evident than here in El Salvador. So yeah, we've got so many people leading the way with medium of exchange adoption here, using Bitcoin as money full time. It's a huge component of what makes this Bitcoin country. And so would you like to introduce the topics, Will? Because we've got a lot to get into here, and it segues pretty naturally into some of the stuff here.
So naturally, we're going to talk about Bitcoin. We're going to talk about Bitcoin month. It used to be Bitcoin week, I think, and it just converted to Bitcoin month because of guys like these. So we're going to talk about Bitcoin month. We're going to talk about Bitcoin. We're going to talk about beef, obviously. You going to talk a little beef, Slim Dog?
Let's talk about the cow.
Well, we're also going to talk about Berlin, economia a little bit, maybe. We're going to talk about freedom. Who knows? Let's see where it goes.
Yeah, permaculture, land,
Lifestyle.
Community,
Choices.
right? Community is a big thing that's happening here right now. I have a hard time.
regenerative.
Thank you. Regenerative everything. Right? Capital, humans, beef,
Pendulum
food.
swinging back the other way.
Oh, I love the pendulum conversation. I love that one. I also love to quote Ron Paul, one of his old ones. You can't stop an idea whose time has come. And he was specifically talking about freedom.
Yeah.
And that's what's happening here. The genie's out of the bottle, bro. You can't shove that thing back in there. The time has come for this place especially for what's happening. So kudos to you, Ron Paul,
100%.
Yeah.
one of the big time OGs.
One of the GOATs, the reason I found Bitcoin. I actually mentioned that same quote in my interview with Max and Stacy.
He was the reason I found libertarian, gold, hard asset-based economic theory, which then led me to Bitcoin.
Yep. Sound money.
Amen.
Yep. And that's what we're all here about. Sound money, sound food, sound lifestyle. It's all coming together here. And so I'll go ahead and introduce Bitcoin month first and foremost. So that is what brings us all together here at Club Cocal here in El Salvador for Bitcoin month. Just kicked off last night with Max and Stacy's meetup at La Cajita Kitchen in El Zonte, Bitcoin Beach, the place where the Bitcoin adoption all started here in Bitcoin country. And it's just getting started. We've got a whirlwind of events coming up. So first up, we're gonna have Bitcoin Historico. It actually kicks off tomorrow with a fireside chat with Russell Brand in the afternoon, and then starts properly the day after that, November 12th and 13th at the National Palace and the National Theater in Centro Historico, in the heart of El Salvador, in the heart of San Salvador, the capital city. It is a venue fit for royalty. Literally, the last can't miss it big event at the National Palace was the re-inauguration of President Bukele himself. And royalty flew in from around the world for this venue, for that. And we've got Bitcoin royalty, Bitcoin rock stars, plebs, all components of the Bitcoin ecosystem flying in. They're here now. We're about to kick off a historic, unique event, the inaugural Bitcoin Historico, produced by Max, Stacy, and the Bitcoin office. It's got a world-class lineup of speakers. We got Zuby, Lawrence Lepard, Jeff Booth, Preston Pish, Giacomo Zucco, Jimmy Song, and so many others.
Slim.
Texas Slim will be speaking there. James will actually be hosting a fireside chat with Slim at Adopting Bitcoin, which I'll get into a little bit. I'll be hosting a fireside chat with Slim there too.
Yes.
But yeah, so they're both speaking. Jake's going to be speaking. I am going to be on a panel about Bitcoin month, about the emerging Bitcoin economy, and I will also be MC of the National Theater stage. So yeah, it's going to be a fun one, and really a great place to discuss Renaissance 2.0, which is a concept that inspired me when I first moved here August 2023. Hearing Stacy Herbert talk about Renaissance 2.0 was a big part of my inspiration to actually follow through on that whim after the Silicon Valley bank run. That was kind of like a warning shot for the fiat system, seeing that the world's wealthiest economy, the wealthiest part of that, the wealthiest companies in that part of the wealthiest country, they thought their money was in the bank, and it wasn't. Fractional reserve banking, to your point about Ron Paul and the Fed, Austrian economists have been talking about the problems with the fractional reserve system for many decades. and it's become impossible to ignore now. The problem has become obvious, and the solution is emerging here. And that's really what we're all here to highlight, and how that can proliferate into the other aspects of a sound lifestyle. So I'm very excited for this conversation. And that's Bitcoin Historico, November 12th and 13th. And just to quickly overview Bitcoin month before we really get into the meat of this conversation, including talking about beef, quality meat.
Nice fun.
Yeah, there you go. So we got Adopting Bitcoin right after that, November 14th and 15th. All 5 of us are speaking at that. Several different panels and fireside chats. James will be having the Bitcoin Farmers Market. And that has been the heartbeat of grassroots Bitcoin adoption in Bitcoin country for 5 years running now. Consistently gets about 1,000 people each time. Very high signal, setting an example for other conferences to follow, including Bitcoin Magazine. They saw that Adopting Bitcoin was all operating on Bitcoin for all the merchants there, and they decided to copy it. So El Salvador is really setting the example. Grassroots for the rest of the world to follow in so many different ways. Grassroots and top-down is really what distinguishes El Salvador as Bitcoin country. You have all of these different aspects of the Bitcoin ecosystem. So all of us are going to be there, and then at least 4 of us are going to be at Economy of Bitcoin in Berlin. First, so Adopting Bitcoin, can't miss it. It's going to be an extraordinary experience, November 14th and 15th. After that, as part of Bitcoin month, Club Cocal is hosting an event here, actually. Would you like to talk maybe 30 seconds, a minute about that?
Oh, snap. Sunday Fun Day, I believe we have dubbed it. Sunday Fun Day, the 16th. It is the post-everything celebration. It's a fundraiser for the House of Life to rescue pregnant teenage girls from the street. And it's Miss Bitcoin Alejandra's birthday bash. My buddy Ryan Mata is showing a never before seen his new documentary right here on the big screen. It's going to be epic. I think doors open at 11 or 12. Come over anytime.
Yep. So that's November 16th, and you're expecting around 200 people.
It depends on primero Dios. It depends on the rain. You know, if there's no rain, we could have a couple hundred people. We're gonna have shuttles from Zonte back and forth. You know, we're right on you pass right by us if you're going to the city from Zonte. So I think we'll have a big showing. I'm pretty excited.
Definitely, yeah. And it fits right in with Bitcoin Hollywood vibes too, launching a documentary here for a good cause, helping women rehabilitate from human trafficking. El Salvador used to be the murder capital of the world. It knows a thing or two about dark times, but the magic of being here is this, President Bukele made it safe, and now he's celebrating economic liberty as well. So this is a place to be safe and to prosper, and that ties in perfectly with that. So that's November 16th. Bitcoin Beach, just real quick, Bitcoin Beach is also hosting a festival November 14th through 16th. So some people, if they miss Adopting, they may stop by there. And then the 16th, it's the same day as this, but people will be going back and forth. You mentioned you got shuttles. So maybe check out El Zonte earlier in the morning and then come on over here for the documentary release. This is a beautiful venue for it, right by the waves, right between El Zonte and San Salvador. So it's definitely a big part of Bitcoin month. So definitely excited for that. After that, just real quick, Bitcoin Beach has events in Punta Mongo as well on the eastern half of the country, launching a new hotel out there and the circular economy out there. One of the most beautiful places in the world I've ever been. We're going to be talking about land as well as beef and permaculture and so many other topics in this podcast. It is one of the most beautiful places on earth, right by the waves, stunning rolling hills, the waves, the beaches. It's gorgeous. So that's November 18th through 20th. And then after that, we've got Economy of Bitcoin in Berlin, the event that I personally co-founded in the circular economy there, ties in with the medium of exchange adoption as well. These 3 will all be speaking on panels, and Jake might make it, we'll see. And so it's going to be an extraordinary event in one of the most hyper Bitcoin-esque places on earth, in the circular economy that took inspiration from El Zonte, from Bitcoin being legal tender here.
It'll be my first time.
Yep, up in Berlin.
2.5 years I carry here.
You haven't been up there before?
Ya llevo en El Salvador 2 años y medio, and I don't know Berlin yet.
Yeah, well,
It'll be my first.
We're excited to introduce it to you, and that's a big goal of the conferences. People have heard about Berlin, one of the world leading circular economies, but it is just far enough out of the way that you really have to make a weekend of it.
Yeah.
So we were putting together an event that gives people a reason to make a weekend of it.
And that's what we're doing.
It's not a day trip, right? You're correct. It's just slightly too long.
Yep. So
it is gorgeous country.
Yes, absolutely. It is on top of a mountain volcano powered by geothermal energy. Totally safe. It's an agricultural hub in the Usulatan region as you're heading east. So people will be coming back from Punta Mango as well. From the Bitcoin Beach event to the Bitcoin Berlin event. So it just all flows together naturally. And that's really what we're going for here with Bitcoin Month. So that was a long summary, but it is going to be a whirlwind experience. It's what brought us all together here. And I'm excited to really get into the full podcast now, the meat of the podcast.
The meat.
The meat.
The bones. Well,
The marrow.
in that sense, Slim Dog, we'll start with you, my friend.
Yes.
You just go ham, brother. Tell
Let's
us
do it.
what's on your mind as it pertains to Bitcoin, as it pertains to
Let's
beef.
have some testimony.
As it
How's that?
pertains.
Let's just give testimony. That's what Bitcoin is about. It's about transparency. And, it's funny in the Bitcoin space, that's where I started the Beef Initiative. And I know when I had that moment, I was like, hell, I'm going to oh shit, I'm going to put new value into the cow. Where is the value of the cow, guys? Nobody knows, right? And so, Bitcoin allows you to kind of look at the inside of things, first yourself. And so whenever you do that, everybody here's got innovation. And they haven't been, I call it a circle jerk. We come in these circle jerks of education, of a lot of good things you need to know. But sometimes you got to get your shit out of there. And you got to go out there and you got to take a step forward. And so for half a decade, I read the Bitcoin space, but I educated myself. And Bitcoin allowed me to find something in cattle, find something in the cattle industry, that we have an opportunity to actually truly create a food security system here in El Salvador based on our proof of work of what we've done in Texas, Kansas, Montana, basically Florida. I've been to Australia. I've been to Asia. We got contracts in Africa to build ranches. And what is a ranch? Well, it's a farm. What is a farm? It's a ranch. What is food? It's medicine. What is medicine? It's food. And you don't see that until you get into the Bitcoin ethos. And so, everybody has a deadly need to know what's next. What's next is we're going to uncover that, we have a lot of testimony and, everything that's been done in El Salvador. I wasn't planning on coming here. I read the markets. I read the cycles. In El Salvador, as Jethro just pointed out, we have medium exchange here. And that's what we need for the cow. We have to establish a new value of the cow. It's right now, it's in the USDA insurance policy. What does that mean? It's fiat. We've lost the value of the cow. We lost market access to our food system, guys. And it's happening and it's unfolding. And I've been able to perform research across this globe or this flat earth, who you're talking to. But what we have is we have a system here that's about to break in ways that basically, if you pay attention, you can recreate a sovereign lifestyle, but we have a sovereign opportunity with people like Stacy and Max. Talking to Max, he said this is a fourth turning. The hell it is, and that's what we have to get people to understand. Us cattle ranchers and us cowboys, well, we don't have access to a lot of things in technology. We've been captured, and it's hard to steward what you don't know. And until you get basically ready to get to zero and get off of zero, education is the only thing that matters. Look what Bukele in the country of El Salvador is doing for education, for the children of the nation here. Well, that's what I'm doing in cattle ranching. We're losing 67 ranches a day in the United States. I'm coming to El Salvador. We need your help. We need to show the world what we can do building a food security system. Yeah. And it's freaking honoring the cow, giving a new value to the cow. James here, we have issues in processing. Let's build some processing center, guys. That's what I do. We can do it anywhere in the world. Mm-hmm. We're building herds in the Beef Initiative because we stacked. And now we basically know how to stack our herds and use Bitcoin as a medium of exchange. It's time to basically unfold all this in El Salvador.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I'm going to pass the mic off soon to James because James has been leading the way with beef in El Salvador, quality beef. But first, I just wanted to say a few things I appreciate about Texas Slim. First of all, that is food is so critical to human flourishing. And Texas Slim really has been on the forefront, the pioneer, that cowboy, the OG Bitcoin cowboy of that overlap between beef and Bitcoin. Again, it was my first use of Bitcoin as a medium of exchange was buying a beef box of quality steaks from the Beef Initiative. I first heard about Texas Slim on Daniel Prince's podcast. He's been on One Spittin' 6 times. You've done shows with Marty Bent, Adam Curry, the Podfather, who's been on Rogan several times. Very plugged into the Texas Bitcoin beef community. Longtime rancher, deep Texas roots, and personally, I am a city slicker from Washington D.C., but I got some family in Texas in the Panhandle.
Yes,
I got a relative who was buried there in the Panhandle, owned a ranch. Like it's in my blood as well. Some of that Texas soil,
and we need to dive deep into that conversation. You got heritage up there in the Panhandle that means something. Mm-hmm. And cattle ranching especially. So that's what's fun about right now. We get to talk about history.
Absolutely,
and save some heritage here.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. In the same way that El Salvador is leading the way as Bitcoin country for so many generations, Texas has led the way as beef country, you could say, beef state. Some Texans like to think they're a country, but I
tell everybody we're the real Yellowstone. So, that's fun pop culture, but, I know so many damn good people in this world that, they are the real Yellowstone.
Well, and I can just tell you, being a Texan and a Salvadoran, Sangre Azul, back and forth, there is a incredible correlation to the fundamental roots of freedom. Sovereignty. Texans don't mess with Texas, right?
Yeah.
And it's one of few places, at least in the West, that I can go back to and actually feel similar vibration as far as the American rattlesnake, the freedom, the torch of freedom. And here it's very new, right? Here it's like very new. In Texas, it's aged. But it's baked into the blood and the culture of the people. Freedom is. So
absolutely. It's also been eroded by fiat currency being in the home of the world's reserve currency. And one of the beautiful things about this moment in El Salvador, why it's so historic, Bitcoin Historico, is because El Salvador is this blank slate to set a positive example for the rest of the world. So Slim, you've done amazing work highlighting the struggles of ranchers in this fiat system, the centralization, the oligopoly with the big four, how it's all the production. These senders, are all controlled by the big four. And so it's important to set a positive example with regenerative agriculture, restoring power to the ranchers, both with their money. Bitcoin gives them that breathing room. A lot of ranchers have to deal with debt. That's part of the problem. They get caught in the fiat trap.
Yeah.
So it's so important to be able to set positive examples of a brighter alternative.
Well, and it's tough to look at an industry that we don't have access to, especially as consumers. And I'm not going to go too deep here, but multinational corporations control basically our processing, our packing, and our distribution. And we have been cut off. There's a control grid already in place. And what you have to do is you have to exit out of that system. What is the bottleneck of that? It's the processing center. And the infrastructure of El Salvador, we don't have processing centers out, but we have the opportunity, because that's what I do in Texas, Montana. We have USDA, state processing, and see, that's what we do in the Beef Initiative. We advise. I've got the best advisors in the world. So if you look at it from that perspective, we're building an industry. We're coming as servant leaders to El Salvador, and they're going to teach us, and we get to show the world, hey, we've so regulated in Texas. Look what El Salvador just did, because they're not caught up in this regulatory capture. And so we can advise on a policy level here. And what we can do is rewrite the books in Texas, Montana, and all these places that we have bottlenecked ourselves out of market access to our cattle and our money. And that's what this is really about. And actually, James feels it every day because the infrastructure of El Salvador, he needs help. And he basically, the way that he stewards his cattle, he needs to have distance. It's about the microbiome of your energy, and Bitcoin allows you to do that. Keep this monetary system in a medium exchange. And if you had, and we will, have a processing center, and that's going to bring more producers through the center of the Dow. And that's what James has done, and he gets all that credit for that.
That sounds fantastic
Yes.
to me.
Yes, it does, doesn't it?
More processing centers, the better.
Yes, and that's opportunity, right?
Yeah.
And so now, after 5 years, that's what we've done over 5 years during COVID. We started from scratch, man. We built processing centers with no loans from banks, and it was a family affair, and it's expanded now. And that's all we're going to do.
The lack of processing facilities here, it actually disincentivizes raising livestock, whatever they might be.
100%.
Whether they're goats, whether they're cows, whether they're whatever. Because there's only a few select choke points, people, they grow a couple of cows and a couple of goats for their local town. They're not incentivized to produce more. And that's a serious issue. Like I've seen it firsthand, and there's no reason why El Salvador shouldn't be a net exporter of whatever livestock it might be, or whatever good organic fruit, veg, whatever it might be. There's no reason why it shouldn't.
Yep.
But it's a net importer, and that is
Just
it's
like
a serious problem.
Well, it's just like the United States is.
Yeah.
Just like Australia is.
Yeah.
It's a fiat system that's broken.
Yeah,
And it's because of a
bad
lot of
incentives.
things. Yeah, it's bad incentives. And what we can do, El Salvador, I've been around the world. I've got these incubators of, recon. But if you look at El Salvador, and this is truth and honesty, it's a think tank now that can steward basically, let's talk about data. Let's talk about licensing and copywriting of what a country, it's pure here. And I guarantee you the whole world wants purity right now.
Absolutely.
And then we can encrypt it on, this thing called, it's a protocol. And that's what we're doing here. We're basically decentralizing all the opportunities. I do not see another country that can have a better food security from the ground up.
What you're speaking to strikes a chord with me as it pertains to fertile ground.
Yes.
El Salvador is volcanic, rich, fertile ground for not only plants and shrubs and fruit-bearing trees, but also for innovation, for everything imaginable, I think, in this new paradigm that we're shifting into. Things that have been held under the rug, whether it's energy technologies, food technologies, I think El Salvador is fertile ground for all of it. And I think what Texas Slim is bringing here is going to be one of the first, proof of work of just that. Well, Jake, I think as we're talking about Bitcoin as an infrastructure for this economy, right? This sovereignty, this community, everything from beef to regenerative real estate to parting with your Bitcoin. This has been a big subject, right? A lot of us we're hodlers. Our Bitcoin collects dust and we like it that way. But, I parted with some Bitcoin to buy this place a few years ago, and it was one of the best decisions I've ever made. We're building a community. We're building a brand. We're building so many things that I couldn't just build on my Bitcoin. But my Bitcoin gave me the opportunity and the availability to do all that. So Jake works with Bitcoiners, travelers, that want to live on a Bitcoin standard while traveling and experiencing all these beautiful places, including yours truly, El Salvador. AirBTC is the company, and you guys are a Bitcoin only travel, lodging. Tell us more. Tell us what brought you to El Salvador. Tell us what you're seeing here, boots on the ground, and where you see it going.
Yeah, well, thank you. I appreciate that. What I think's happening on the ground. Well, first, how I got here was something called to me. I just kept hearing El Salvador, Bitcoin, and it was like this drawl from within that I was like, I want to go. I want to go, and I want to go right now because I feel like it's almost like we, you know, at that point, and still to now, because, you know, time is one of those things that you really can't, you know, you can get trapped by it, or you can be freed by it. I feel like it's just been so quick, rapidly growing, and all of this talk of what Bitcoin should be, and that we get in the States from CNBC and all these other sources, right? It's not the truth, right? It's part true, right? Just like store of value is good, but it shouldn't be the whole kit and caboodle, right? I believe you should be able to save your life savings in Bitcoin, yes. But at the same time, you should go on a vacation, because let me tell you, do you want to be dead on your deathbed and you're like looking up at your kids and you're like, you know what? I'm so glad we didn't go on that vacation and you have 0.10 Bitcoin extra. No one said that ever, right? We're on this planet for such a limited time, and I think that like this kind of escapes people because we're always stuck on our phone or we're tuned into something else. But at the end of the day, time is so limited, and we've been given a gift from the gods, the best money on the planet. Like truly and honestly, full encompassing best money that has ever existed ever. But we don't use it as money.
I think Max called it the Sistine Chapel of money. Right?
Renaissance 2.0.
That's too many syllables for me, Will. But the idea is, at the end of the day, we need to utilize what has been given to us and distribute sats amongst everyone and preach and get up on that soapbox and say, you know what, listen, you guys have to come over here. It's way better, right? You're not just watching numbers go up and waking up and going to the restroom and you're like, oh, what's Bitcoin at this morning? No, come on. Let's live in this world that we want to build this world. And that's kind of why AirBTC exists. Because I want to live in a world where you can have a short-term rental and rent it out for Bitcoin and do Bitcoin mining with property. Like,
it's a true shift of consciousness as it pertains to monetary life, right? Which is what we're all here for. We're all undergoing a massive shift in a monetary global system, a Bretton Woods, if you will, into Bitcoin.
Yeah, and some of us don't know about it.
A lot of us.
So many people are going to be left behind, and it's kind of hard. It's hard to imagine a world like that. But that's why I think we need to get more eyes on El Salvador. We need to bring more people here. Experience what I've experienced. Put your feet in the grass.
Yes.
Do you hear that wave in the background? I don't know if the mic can pick that up. I hope it picks it up. It's serene.
Yes.
This is a place of healing and love and life, and all the locals are amazing, and we've done so much business with Salvadorians, amazing people. And I'm super excited, super bullish on El Salvador, and I think everyone should use Bitcoin as it was intended, as money, especially through AirBTC.
I'd love to comment on that. But if you want to go.
You can do it.
Oh, sorry, man. Yeah, I just completely agree with those sentiments. One of the things that I like to think about in terms of Bitcoin as a medium of exchange is we have the emission schedule, we have our halving schedule, right? 50, 25, half, half, half. The other emission schedule is people using it. And that means a lot more dispersal amongst the populace. And that's partly what makes Bitcoin so resilient. The more hands that we can get it into, the more resilient we are as a network, as a global monetary protocol. And yeah, it being used is so important. Nothing wrong with hodling. I agree with you. But
You gotta have both.
yeah, how are we going to get more Satoshis into the hands of more people? By using it.
Yes.
Simple as that.
Well, we're up against the wall, right? You've got iBit, you've got MSTR, they're constantly buying Bitcoin. All these OGs that sold from Taproot days, right?
Yeah.
Guys, it's not going to you and your farmer friends, that's going to BlackRock, right? That's going to the big
And that's
corporations, and that's not what we wanted.
Yes.
Yeah, we're in this.
2 emission schedules.
Yeah, 2 emission schedules, and we're in this to fix the money, fix the world, fix the food, fix the lifestyle, all of it. And you're really seeing that emerging here in El Salvador in particular. We've already touched on the problems with the fiat system. So, of course, with Texas Slim, the Beef Initiative, you've seen how firsthand you've met so many ranchers who have struggled with the problems of the centralization and the corrupt incentives of the fiat world. And I think using Bitcoin as money The reason I came here was, again, after the Silicon Valley bank run, we see the problems with the fiat system, and to your point about it being more resilient, making our communities more resilient, our families more resilient, our economies more resilient. We need sound money. Bitcoin is the best sound money, the Sistine Chapel of money, as Max Kaiser called it. And we do see circular economies around the world, but nowhere in the world is that more encouraged than it is here in Bitcoin country. It has the most Bitcoiners per capita, and it's actually possible to live full-time on a Bitcoin standard, especially in places like El Zonte in Berlin, thanks to so many people like the farmers market, like Chimbera, Mike Peterson, like Gerardo and Evelyn in Berlin, starting that up.
Bitcoin Coast.
Bitcoin Coast, Charlie. Yep. And we just did a new podcast, by the way, on Mike Peterson's Bitcoin Beach podcast. It was me, Charlie, and Kiki, the organizer of Adopting. And yeah, there are so many different circular economies popping up. Bitcoin Beach is launching a couple new ones. Suchi Toto, Chalatenango, or Chalchuapa. That's the Bitcoin Beach one. The founders of Berlin, Gerardo and Evelyn, they're launching a new one in Chalatenango, La Laguna, and then of course Bitcoin Beach also has Punta Mango. So we're seeing more and more circular economies starting to flourish here. And we can lead the way in so many different aspects of society, including the food, including the travel. You can actually enjoy life with incentives realigned to flourish on a sound money standard.
So this touches a little bit on a subject that's dear to my heart. It's called the reverse brain drain. And I'll be doing a panel on the reverse brain drain at Adopting on Saturday, I think it is, or Friday. It's the concept of, so the brain drain occurred, in India, for example, over the last 3-4 decades, where all of the smartest people left the country because there was little opportunity for them, and they went to the West to become doctors, predominantly. That's a brain drain. India suffered massively. They lost their best, right? What we're experiencing here in El Salvador is a reverse brain drain on steroids. The steroids is Bitcoin and freedom. And the reverse brain drain is this lineup right here and everyone else that you're going to meet this month, right? It's this extremely high concentration of not just capital, but brain capital, entrepreneurial capital, heart capital, people that want to build, that want to create, that want to give back, that want to do something amazing. They don't just want to make money. They've already, thanks to Bitcoin, made the money, most of them. They're here to go ham on this country, which is fertile ground, for all of this.
Absolutely. And speaking of fertile ground, one of our next topics is about permaculture. Really, what is the magic in the soil and in the water here in El Salvador? In addition, with this influx of talent and capital, you do have this prime place for so many different types of flourishing. And I know Steve with the Beef Initiative has done some soil samples, so maybe you'd like to talk about that.
Yeah, I mean, just talk about permaculture, regenerative farming. My big slogan is I never met a cow that didn't love grass. And what that means is, the cows are land tools, but it's basically, every part of the livestock family, are tools for El Salvador right now. Mm-hmm. And what it based on is permaculture. It's like, hey, where does nutrition come from? It comes from biology. It's basically, food is not science. And so the world doesn't know this. And, going back to what is El Salvador, it's got the best water table in the world. You listen to Dr. Jack Cruz, man, they're taking it down to the nanoparticle level. All we are basically batteries. We have electricity, so do those land tools. And they filter out the best nutrition in the world. So that's what Steve does. And, in cattle ranching in the United States, I call it the alpha and omega of nutrition. And we have input control, going back to, grass-finished beef. Yeah, that's good. Very few people can do it as good as James. And so that's what a lot of people don't know. But I've got biology on my side, and we're bringing nutrition to our beef based on permaculture, based on the soil, the density, and I go back to the Dust Bowl in West Texas. I know about root systems and we know about how we've killed agriculture in the United States. And I keep on saying El Salvador is 1878 Texas. What does that mean? It means that's when Texas basically started feeding a nation after war. Where has El Salvador been? You know, it's been forsaken for a while, and they lost control over their infrastructure, but it kept the soil pristine. And we got the best water, we got the best entrepreneurs, and I tell you, it's a gem, and that's what people are starting to see. And if you look at agriculture and how captured it is, you know, the Angus cattle, you know, that database, it's the biggest database in the world based on one basically breed of cattle. Well, I love the Angus cow, but, you know, look at the genetics of that cow since what the fuck happened in 1971. Let's see how we reverse engineered some genetics that were based on some good heritage and some good soil. Okay, those cows have changed, and it's a fiat fuck is what it is, pardon my French. But let's look at it like that. It's something that we have to...
cows.
Yes, and now, you know, let's put the value into the cow through a new protocol, and it comes through the soil. And those are the land tools that we have to protect.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And Will, you're a great person to speak on the land here as well. I know you're doing some panels, including with Aaron Murphy, who has been on the forefront of permaculture here, really pushing the boundaries of this blank slate, fertile, pristine soil and water to show just how much the agriculture, the fruits and the vegetables, and the cows can all flourish here. And I know you've got a new project as well, so would you like to speak a little bit about that?
Yeah. Murph is the OG. We are working, working together in as many ways as possible. I mean, they're teaching permaculture classes up there. We're going to have our people in those classes. We're developing a community, 21 homes, 10 minutes past El Zonte, and it's going to be an agri-hood. I have back here in our live audience some really amazing partners and friends and that are PhDs in permaculture, and they're going to go ham on this community. The green spaces, the communal spaces will be regenerative, growing fruits and vegetables and producing milk and cheese from goats and others. So cattle. Probably too. We can't get cattle on our 23 acres in Shutia, but next one. We'll do that on the next one.
But we can get some poultry, we can get some hogs. We can
get some hogs and I love bacon. I love bacon.
Yeah, we'll get some goats.
We love protein.
Yes.
Well, we're losing daylight here in Club Cocal.
We should start winding down. I just wanted to touch a little bit. So Michael Ruiz has often talked about the race between Bitcoin capital and fiat capital here, and how Bitcoiners are looking to build regeneratively to make the most of this in a way that doesn't lead to a dust bowl,
yes,
in a way where everything can flourish and feed entire communities, supply quality nutrition and sound money to an entire country.
Yeah, and the country has just opened its doors. It's just on the map, for the first time in 30 years, and it's a race. It's a race, and you have the fiat developers here clear-cutting forests and building high-rises, and it's all about, 8-figure money. Yeah. And then you have the Bitcoiners coming here with heart capital, want to give back, want to create jobs, want to help rescue trafficked girls, they don't want to clear cut forests. We're doing 23-acre community, it's only 21 home sites. Other fiat developers would cram 100 or 200 in there easily.
They just want to flip something in 6 months and be done with it.
Exactly.
Right?
It's all about
Whereas
the money.
The Bitcoiners that are here are actually like,
there's a gratitude.
I want to live here for generations.
There's a gratitude.
I want to have a family here. Yes. I care about the future.
This place
of this
has
country.
Blessed us with so much that when we come and we drop into that, all we can do is give back. Yeah. And all she does is just keep nuking us with benefits and opportunity. I mean, it's insane.
Yeah, it's extraordinary what's happening here, and that's why it's so important. Bitcoiners, it's not just about having sound money and getting Lamborghinis. It's about building with low time preference in a way that is sustainable for generations and sets a positive example for the rest of the world.
Nobody's even wearing a watch here. There's no Rolexes, I mean, nothing wrong with a nice timepiece, but I'm just saying.
In a bull market, you're not seeing Rolexes here. You're seeing people reinvest in building the Bitcoin economy to fix the money, fix the world, fix the food, fix the communities.
That's the Rolex.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, showing off a little proof of work here. Yeah, from James, Beef Back Better. And
this is one of my favorite bulls. God bless him.
Look at the artwork.
Yep, absolutely. And I know we are starting to wind down here, but just to this point about living a quality life, investing in things that are sustainable, investing in experience, in community, So I think we should probably start going around with final thoughts. And so the reason, part of the idea behind this panel was there is this deep overlap between sound money, sound food, and sound experience. You know, it's the money, the beef, the land, community, and that is why AirBTC actually ties this all together, is people traveling to experience these things on a Bitcoin standard. So Jake, would you like to give some
Don't forget about freedom.
So I think this is really easy for me because it's like you connect all the dots really quickly. Will is selling you the real estate, right? Putting you in an amazing place in a home, right? And you get to experience everything, all the beautiful things. And when you're not there, if you don't live here 100% of the time, you can rent it out on AirBTC. And if you're a Bitcoiner, you're coming to Freedom Country. You don't want second best beef, right? You want grass-fed, grass-finished, the best beef on planet Earth here in El Salvador, right?
No shots.
So it all ties in very, very cleanly. And, you know, I think we all want to, Bitcoin does something to us in our own way, each one of us, but it makes us want to be a better human, right? And I think what you're providing and everything that you've done in the community, I'm just thankful for people like you that just do it, right? Because we could talk about it around a fire all day, but actions speak way louder, right?
Absolutely, wholeheartedly agree, and thank you for what you're contributing to the Bitcoin ecosystem as well. I just want to reiterate, I have booked a stay through AirBTC before, built by Bitcoiners for Bitcoiners. Their customer support team is amazing, great crew. So definitely, it's probably too late for you to come on down to Bitcoin Month, but next time you travel to El Salvador, to any Bitcoin conferences, definitely book your stay through AirBTC. Support the Bitcoin economy, live in accordance with your values, eat in accordance with your values.
You might even find Club Cocal on there, just saying.
Yeah, coming very soon. And this is a premier event space, again, at Club Cocal, right between El Zonte and San Salvador. I came from El Zonte, I'm going to San Salvador for Bitcoin week, Bitcoin month, really, starting with Historico and adopting. So it was the perfect little, halftime break on my way to the big events. And so definitely come on by Club Cocal and keep your eyes tuned for it on AirBTC as well. And so James, speaking to all the work that people have done here to support Bitcoin Month, Bitcoin Country, do you have any final thoughts? Beef Back Better, Bitcoin Farmers Market, huge contributors to the ecosystem. So anything?
Well, I mean, thank you for the kind words. I'm honestly just humbled. It's a cliche for a reason, build it and they will come. And I'm very, very humbled by a lot of the Bitcoin community because I've had a lot of self-doubt, a lot of, just questioning, is this going to work? And the Bitcoin community shows up and they spend their sats. And so I'm just humbled and thankful, and it's going to be a crazy month. I'm amped for it. I think it's going to be incredible.
We want your beef so bad.
But yeah, I'm just grateful. So that's it for me.
Well, thank you, James. We're grateful to have you here, and we're also grateful to have Texas Slim back in Bitcoin Country.
Yes, yes. And this is what's exciting. It's like my all-in moment, right? It's like I said, half a decade. And, one thing, we have something we've done on the road, and I've done it all in we're having a Cattleman's Feast. Okay, and that's the 19th, and that's down on El Zonte. And, it's cool. We've got the images coming out and whatever, the landing page. So pay attention. Jethro, stay tuned over this month because we don't know what's going to happen, but I'm going to start unfolding a fascinating story, and it's going to come with a lot of incentives to start living a different lifestyle. And that's what we need to do. We got to invite people into this spirit, and that's what I found in El Salvador.
Absolutely. I look forward to seeing the story unfold. Got a front row seat here. And definitely stay tuned by following on X. You can follow the Beef Initiative and at Modern T-Man for Texas Slim's
personal definitely account. Focus on Modern T-Man because I'm out in the jungle again. So, let's get busy, guys. And it's going to be a kind of a rodeo. So try to keep up.
Love it. Yeah, and also follow Club Cocal. Obviously, if you see in this podcast, you probably already do. But yeah, and of course, follow the Bitcoin Historico page, the Adopting Bitcoin page, Economia BTC on X. If you missed coming to Bitcoin Month firsthand, you can at least live vicariously, get some FOMO, and come on down the next time we do something big like this, because it's possible here in Bitcoin Country. And before I pass it back to you, Will, for your final thoughts to close us out, just some quick plugs. Where can people follow you, Jake?
AirBTC.online and AirBTC online on X. So we're on Nostr. I encourage everyone to use Nostr more frequently. Please visit airbtc.online, register an account. You'll get on our list. We'll send you some nice rebates and some breaking news about what's happening with us, because we're constantly trying to build new and better every day.
Amen.
Love it. Yeah, so, and you can also check out some of Jake's podcast appearances. He was on the Bitcoin Beach podcast here, the Joe Rogan of Bitcoin in El Salvador, and also on Knut Svanholm's show, who is also speaking at Historico, and who I'll be interviewing for a fireside chat. I'm doing 2 fireside chats at Adopting, one with Texas Slim here, the other with Knut Svanholm. So check out that show to learn more about Jake and AirBTC. And James, where can people follow you?
Pretty simply, just Beef Back Better on Twitter and Nostr, and Bitcoin Farmers Market on Twitter and Nostr. We have Instagram. I never look at it. I never do anything.
Don't message him on Instagram.
Yeah, don't bother. Love you. Don't bother. Yeah. That's about it.
All right, well, as I like to say, if you are a libertarian, an anarchist, a gold and silver stacker, a Bitcoiner, we welcome all. This is your Mecca. El Salvador is the Mecca. You have to come. Like, you just have to come. We can tell you this all day long. I had a buddy here recently. I've been bending his ear about El Salvador for 2 years, and he's like, Will, you're right. I really had to come. You've been talking about it. I had to come to feel it. I'm like, yes, you did. Come, feel it. We're here. Doors are open. Let's eat some beef. Let's have some fun. Let's shoot some fireworks. Let's celebrate liberty.
It's not cutting down. Let's go.
Freedom, man.
Yeehaw.
Freedom.
Let's go.
Much love, you guys.
Cool. So, yeah. Thank you, everyone, for listening. This was the Club Cocal Podcast in collaboration with the Bitcoin Country Podcast. And we look forward to seeing many of you here for Bitcoin Month and in El Salvador beyond.
Amen. Much love, everyone.